In chapter 5, we look at getting to know your diverse workplace. And this is like a twofold kind of chapter. First, we talk about workplace culture, which is different than diversity in the workplace. We're going to talk about why in just a second. But workplace culture has to do with the ins and outs of the organization or the department or the subgroup of the larger organization that you're working for or in. And we figure out the workplace culture by a socialization process, and it's referred to as the assimilation process. So you're a newcomer. So this is like a step-by-step process. We're through the negotiation phase. We got the job, we took the job, we're coming in as a newcomer, not knowing anybody in the organization. So there are certain things that we have to figure out about the organization to become a member of the group, right? And to be accepted as a member of the group. Some tactics we use to become an in-group member, and there's this whole theory called it's the member exchange theory. I can't remember, we don't go over it in this class, but we go through these processes to become a member or to mobilize from being a member of the out group or being the newcomer, the newbie, whatever we want to label it as being like a regular person in the group, right? So we do this through tactics such as overt questioning, which is just straight up asking the question. If you don't know where you're supposed to park, yeah, that's a question that's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to park. Can you tell me where I'm supposed to park? It can be indirect questioning. It can kind of work around. It can be like, trying to think of a parking example. I noticed you were parking in this area. I've been parking in this area. Is that okay? Right? That's indirect more so than just like, hey, where do I park? Third party questioning is asking through an external person. So just asking a person who knows the answer that the other person will give. Testing limits. This is about testing your boundaries. So say that you are trying to figure out how late is too late to show up to work. You got a job, but you're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. But you start to notice after you're on time for 7 days in a row, hopefully you're not working 7 days in a row, actually, but you notice that like you're the first one to the office. So you start coming in 5 minutes later than normal, and then 5 minutes later than normal, and then 5 minutes later than normal. And soon you're at 8:30 and nobody's still there. Then you wait till 9 to come in and everyone is there, but nobody says anything to you. So you just keep showing up at 9 o'clock, and then you might show up at 9:30. That you're testing the limit, you're testing that boundary. Are those things acceptable, are they not? And then we can disguise conversations to find out information too about the organization or the department or the unit, whatever you're in. This might look this I kind of think this could be looked at as like manipulation or manipulating the conversation in order to talk about things it's an indirect way. So you might disguise a conversation about, I'm trying to think, maybe your boss, or maybe I'm having a hard time with examples right now. I'm so sorry. But you might ask a question that's not directly related to the question that you are seeking to answer, but the fact that the conversation is happening like as a little satellite problem answers the question directly. I hope that makes sense. And then surveillance is just observing how the organization or the unit or the department works, and then fitting into that way that you've observed. We also have narratives, and this is at the collegial level, not like college, but like if our colleagues tell us stories about how our boss always shows up late, or don't do this because this person will get really mad, and it's kind of like warnings, but also it can be ways to maneuver throughout the organization for success. And it is just stories, right? Storytelling. So back to this organizational culture, this workplace culture, I think those can be used interchangeably. This is really in regards to the mechanics of the organization, how things work, who is doing what job, but also it's about the attitudes and the tones within the organization. So you might have like the family organization where everybody feels like family, right? Or which families have conflict all the time, right? Or it might be a very open-minded culture. It might be a very closed-minded culture. Conversation might be encouraged or discouraged. You learn these things over time as you are assimilated into this organization. You'll also start to see certain cultural rituals, such as behaviors and traditions. Annual parties. When do you have them? Are they a holiday party? Are they a summer party? Are they outside? Are you taking retreats with your coworkers? Are you encouraged to take time off? Things like that. Importantly, it becomes apparent that you are a part of the system after that assimilation process has concluded. You are a part of the system, meaning the mechanical organization, right? So if you, and I put C systems theory, everyone is interdependent in systems theory. You can think about a machine and how each part of the machine, if you think of an engine, is reliant on other parts in the engine. And when one thing is not working the way that it's supposed to, then everything else kind of gets thrown off or stops working too. So you're part of that interdependent system after this process. Next, we'll talk about diversity in the workplace and how it's different than just this workplace culture.